Hello everyone. Alright, this is a simple example of linking. You might remember that linking is one of the techniques that the Bureau of Labor Statistics uses to keep track of quality changes in the Consumer Price Index. So there were, I gave you 4 techniques. They were panel of experts, linking, the hedonic technique, and then my favorite, assume no quality change. So this one I'm setting up in Excel because it's just easier to demonstrate that way. And here's what you need to use the linking technique. You can use linking if you have an old model and a new model and you're trying to tie them together. So you can see here the old model, these are prices. The old model had a price in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then it was discontinued. Then the new model came on board in year 4 and it continued on into the future. So we have basically 3 years here, you see them, that we could possibly link our 2 models together. So the assumptions are, number 1, both models must exist in the marketplace at the same time, and they do here. In fact, they do for 3 years. And assumption number 2, it must be that some consumers bought one model and other consumers bought the other. That is, through voluntary actions of the consumers, some chose one and others chose the other. It can't be that they were forced to choose one model and not the other. So that's what we have here. Both models exist in year 4, 5, and 6, and consumers bought some of each. So here's how we link them. You have to choose a linking year, and I've set it up so that we can do this thing 3 times. Let me move my image out of the way so you can see. So in this first one, let's link them in year 4. Let's see, why didn't that work? Hold on a minute. Yeah, so we're going to link them in year 4. Now what that means is we're going to calculate the inflation rate between year 1 and 2 from the old model, and between year 2 and 3 from the old model, and between years 3 and 4 from the old model. See that? But then once we get down to year 4, we're going to jump over to the new model and we're going to calculate the inflation rate between year 4 and 5 with the new model. So this is how you would set that up. It would just be the difference in the, wait a minute, wrong square. So the inflation rate between year 1 and 2 would be the difference in the 2 prices divided by the first price times 100 to get it into percent. So that's the inflation rate that we see. Let's clean it up a little bit. Yeah, that's a little better. So that's the inflation rate that we would apply for year 2, getting it from the old model, and then we would do the very same thing in year 3, and we would do the very same thing in year 4, right? Because we're using the old model to calculate all those inflation rates. Let me go back and highlight that so you can remember that that's the linking year. And then to calculate the inflation rate from year 5, we jump over to the new model. So it would be the difference in the new price minus the old price divided by the old price times 100. And hey, so the price didn't change, so there was 0 inflation in that year. And then we have this inflation here, and again, let me fix that. And then going forward. So that's how we would calculate the inflation rate using the linking technique, where we have 2 models. I think in the video I gave you in class that was a refrigerator, and it was just impossible to figure out from a panel of experts which model was better, and so we could link them together. So it's a fancy technique, but basically all you're doing is you're calculating the inflation rate from the old model until you get up to the linking year, and then after that you calculate the inflation rate from the new model. That means, of course, I hope you can see that the difference in the price, this is important now, the difference in the price between the new model and the old model in the linking year, in this case it's quite a lot, right? It's, what is that, $45, that difference in price of $45 is assumed to be all quality difference. In other words, that price jump from $280 to $325 is assumed to be an increase in the quality of the product, and it's not reflected in the index. Now, the problem, of course, is that we have more than 1 year we can link them. So let's imagine that we link them in year 5. So if we linked them in year 5, which is certainly possible, this is what we would get. So the inflation rate between year 1 and 2 would again be the difference in the two prices divided by the first price. Alright, same that we got before, and we would use that all the way down to year 5. So notice that the inflation, oh, what happened here? Oh, I forgot to multiply by 100. Hold on a second. Alright, and then let me just go ahead and take care of this. So you can see that the inflation rate that we get is exactly the same for the first 3 years, but oh my gosh, look here. Now it's different because we use a different linking year. And then of course the inflation that occurs after that, that is in this year forward, would be from the new model. So that would be the difference in the price of the new model minus the price of the old model divided by the price of the old model times 100. Okay, and then onward. There you go. So can you see that some of the inflation rates are the same if you use year 4 or year 5, but some are very different. So we could do it again in the 6th year. I'll be quiet. I won't speak, but I'll just show you how this is. But you should practice to make sure you can do this. Okay, there you go. So notice that the linking years are all different. Year 4, year 5, and year 6. And it causes the amount of inflation that's measured to be quite different. So there's a controversy brewing inside and outside the Bureau of Labor Statistics about what is the appropriate linking year. It turns out that the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, oftentimes uses a latter year to link, but many economists argue that they should use an earlier year, and it of course makes a big difference in the inflation you see. Alright, so this is the linking technique. I hope you found that helpful. Good luck.